interrupt. Is it okay now?
Okay, it's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It lags.
A little
I mean,
scratchy, but
do you
yeah.
get headsets
Yeah,
with
little
these
scratch.
things? Or do people just? I mean, I'm talking about a headset or anything. Do people normally have headsets, or I mean,
You have a headset?
well, built into the thing,
What?
into my Quest?
The microphone, the default microphone. Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh,
I didn't know
that
if
pumpkin
that's
is
what
hot.
most people use, or do most people? Is there a place to plug in your microphone and look and have that?
I think
Oh,
most people
I don't-
use the default mic.
I don't know what
yeah.
the norm.
That-
the norm
everybody's
is.
typing
Mine's
to each other. I
built
see
in-
everybody's
the
thumbs
microphone's
switching
built
and
into the headset. I
stuff.
don't even know where it is on my headset.
Are you here, sir?
It just works.
To be honest. Yeah, it just works.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's what mine
Noparas'
is.
hands are dismembered.
So I'm not really,
He's dismembered.
Oh,
you
nice.
know, that,
Oh,
So sad.
I took a photo of
Oh,
that.
he's blinking. He's
Yeah, somewhere. Oh, Mike, have you seen your mic volume? Is that
Wow.
what you were tweeting?
yes, I have
He doesn't look so good to me.
This happens.
on free right now.
Yeah, that's where mine
It happens
is.
to the best, yeah.
Yes. Look, we
I
can
thought
all
there
do
was
this. Same
another
idea.
place.
I can do them around the other way, behind my head.
And I'm not. You, did I hear you have a Quest?
Yeah, Quest 2.
Yeah, I'm not.
Wexring, you're like
I wouldn't be much help.
inside
because
the chair.
I've never used one of those.
What do you
2
use?
hours though. That's
That's
awesome.
also
Waxwing, he's trying
This
to
is
keep
a,
his privacy.
HTC
Please
Vive,
respect his privacy.
Vive Cosmos. So
He wants to exist under the chair.
it
That
doesn't
is
have
like,
the
you know, some
cameras.
people are
Really
just very
restricted.
serious.
He
You
has
know,
only the head out
cameras
of
on
the,
stands,
of the stage.
but it kind of litters up your.
Yeah,
This
well,
way,
it's-
you know,
Um,
Relax.
so,
guys.
but this one's
Take it
still.
easy, huh?
I'm still tethered
sink into the
to
chair.
my laptop.
it's a new privacy feature.
That's really pretty
Yeah.
cool. I wasn't
Just
expecting
sink
that.
into the chair, literally.
Yeah, I could do that if I
Oh, you're
I
alive.
didn't have a. I'm using a gaming laptop.
It's weird, like
so it doesn't have.
it's like
a-
Pinocchio. He
put in
just
a
becomes
PCI
animated after a while.
If I
Right.
if
That's
I
it. He
was
picked up his
if I
hand
was smart and
and then vanished.
thought ahead and would have
Nice.
gotten
That was a nice easy scam.
a desktop. then,
That's what we need. We need
Yeah,
Wasabi
that's
Wallet
a
needs a
good
token. Why did anybody
Oh,
think
no,
of
and I
this?
could just walk all over.
Come on
the place.
stage, come on
Awesome.
stage.
I took a whole mining machine I had and I made it into a laptop for this with like a 1080 Ti in it, and I thought I was.
You're
gonna
over
get
there.
it. And then I got it. No,
This avatar makes me feel handsome.
Yeah.
So, so
Well, you could still
I
use
sat
it
there, it's a
for
big
like.
plus, you just turn it on. Yeah, this is
It's
really
cool.
big
Say
stuff.
something. Let's see if
Stuff
we can
easy
still
to
hear you,
figure
because
out.
right now you're
It
muted.
was like incredibly
Yep.
easy to figure out.
I think
Okay.
conferences are going to become very
Trying to figure out where my
common
microphone is.
in this setting.
I thought it was limited
Okay.
on the
And you're gonna want to
choose from. I thought
turn
that was
on
pretty
the
It's different on different platforms. Some of them
what's
have
it
more.
called? The Amplify My
options.
Voice thing under
Yeah,
host
this
tools.
isn't the only.
I may
only,
have too much ADD for this. I haven't done this in a while.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Okay. Where-
You may what?
Gotcha,
Sorry?
I gotcha.
I may have too much ADD for this. I haven't done this in a while, and I'm feeling already like
LPR, which is a
I feel like I'm
You're good.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Doing
use
one
another
thing at a
I'll say
time is
few
very
words, And then
Oh.
and then we'll start. Okay, that's it. I muted everyone. Woo! Welcome to Reckless VR. Oh no, we found the rockets. That's terrible. They're supposed to be secret. Don't touch them. It's mine. Okay, so welcome to Reckless VR. Like every Saturday, we meet here in VR. Some of you are going to watch this on video through YouTube or Twitter, but you should know that we meet every weekend, every Saturday, and you can join next time. You don't need to have a VR headset. You can do it with your PC or your Mac or whatever you have. So you just go to recklessvr.com and you sign up and you get invites to our next events. So you should do that. And well, yeah, so today we have none else than Adam nopara73 from Wasabi Wallet. Well, he's more than Wasabi Wallet. Probably it's Wasabi Wallet is your brainchild. And I think that Wasabi Wallet first started with like the zero link document paper back in 2017, and before that you even had like other privacy stuff, ideas like hidden wallet. There was a Tumblebit implementation. So maybe you can tell us a bit about like how Wasabi Wallet started and how it came to be, because I think it's a cool story.
Yeah, sure. It was started with Join Market. You know what? I used to joke that I had a lot of money coming from Silk Road and I needed to find a solution. but then I saw back my joke on Monero Reddit and I didn't find that funny anymore because they didn't think it was a joke, even though everyone was laughing. Anyway, so why I'm not really telling this story that much is because it's probably the boringest founder story that you can ever have. In 2015, Join Market came around, and I was already a fine software developer, and I wanted to have a software that other people use, and so Join Market came out. It was a command line software, and I thought I'd write a GUI for it, and I did, but it didn't. I couldn't connect it with Join Market, and I just ended up going further and further on this specific issue that my next idea was, okay, I started rewriting Join Market in C#. I had to learn Bitcoin programming in C#. Then I realized this too much work, so I'm not gonna do that. And you know, things were just happening to me instead of me controlling the things how they are happening. But I ended up also learning a lot, and one of the things that I learned is that you need to use a Bitcoin full node, otherwise you have no privacy. At least that was the case. So I realized the first problem that you have to solve is how to have privacy in a light wallet settings, and that was hidden wallet, where I tried to imitate a light wallet by only downloading all the blocks from the creation of the wallet, and then the neutrino filters came around from the Lightning Network guys, and that finally solved how to do privacy in light wallets and implemented it, and I think from that time it was called Wasabi, but there was never really previous projects of mine. I was messing around with Tumblebit, but it was the exact same project, right? I wanted to be the privacy wallet. It was not different. Right. I just renamed hidden wallet to first to Magica crypto wallet, but the guys did not want me to go with that, so it became Wasabi. That's the short story.
That's cool. So you had I don't know how many people here know Tumblebit, but it was this other idea for I think it was based on a paper by Ethan Allman, right? And other idea for how to do privacy, basically. Well, I actually don't even remember all of it. But it used like blind signatures similarly to what you do in Wasabi, but instead of doing that for coordinating the CoinJoin, it would be like the entire thing. You would deposit like coins at something and withdraw them with some sort of blind signature scheme. I don't think it caught on, right? I don't think there's an actual Tumblebit implementation that's very popular today, right?
There is none, but actually today it's much easier to explain Tumblebit to people than it was back then, because it's very similar to Lightning. You can imagine Tumblebit like the Lightning Network, but without the network part. So it's like only one hub, and it's completely anonymous, but you can only do unidirectional payments, and you can only do equal amount payment, so it didn't really, it's not very useful, but I think it was never explored properly, so we should take a second look at one time in the future.
Right. So I think that when the Wasabi really took shape was around 2017 when you published the Zero Link paper. I think you named the kind of, I don't know, the scheme or the way that Wasabi functions in Zero Link, and it's kind of a framework for building privacy-oriented wallets. I would say it didn't just cover CoinJoin. It covered CoinJoin. It covered how to have a coordinator that is doing a blinding scheme thing, and it covered a lot of things. But it also just covered basic things about how privacy wallet should look like what you said about client-side filtering for light wallets that you would be able to not use a full node. And one thing that I found really interesting is that you described a bit about like labeling UTXOs and why privacy wallets should do labeling of UTXOs and why it's very important and people have to do that. And Wasabi, actually, you kind of have to label UTXOs. You cannot not label them. So that's very unique, I think, in Bitcoin wallets. I can't think of another Bitcoin wallet that requires you to label UTXOs. And I don't know, can you maybe like throw a smiley emoji if you used Wasabi before, just so I can get an idea of how many people have an idea what I'm talking about? Okay, so I think it's less than half. So it's I would say, so you know, in a Bitcoin wallet you have some Bitcoin wallets just show you a balance, and some of them show you the UTXOs that you have in your wallet. I think that it's fair to say that most don't even show you the UTXOs, which is the unspent transaction outputs that you have. And some wallets allow you to label the UTXOs, like to say, okay, this UTXO came from Coinbase, or it was created when I sent a transaction to Coinbase and got the change back, and so on. So, but some wallets let you have a label, but most wallets don't insist on it and don't make it a very important part of the UI. But Wasabi does. So can you maybe explain why you made the decision?
Yes, sure. Let me give you some context here. In 2017, maybe, I wrote a blog post and I labeled it, I don't remember the exact label, but it was something like this. If you care about your privacy, then you have to use coin control. And all I wanted to show there is, there was no Wasabi. There wasn't really much privacy back then in Bitcoin. And all I wanted to show there that if you send your money to a mixer, to centralized mixer, and then you receive back into the same wallet, then your wallet is going to just merge them together at one time in the future. So that's not a very good thing. That was about it, and lately we've been thinking some about this coin control thingy that this is not going to be used by your grandma, or probably not even by Peter McCormack. So so this is obviously not the future, and people are going to use Bitcoin. So what's the point of the coin control and the labeling stuff at all? And there are two things. Is that one is you have, your wallet can tell you about clusters, and you don't really want to merge those clusters together. And that's pretty much it. So a better coin control than what we have in Wasabi or Electrum or Bitcoin Core right now would be that if you would always have to label, and the clusters would be some kind of bags in your wallet. And you would always decide which bag you are spending from. But we can even go further than that, because if you think about it, coin control is the only goal of coin control is because only makes sense is because Bitcoin is not very fungible. And if you mixed some money, then you can't really decide which mixed coin you want to use because they are fungible from each other. So if mixing is the default workflow, then is there a need for coin control if you want to spend mixed coins? And the answer is no, there is no need. You still need it if you want to touch non-mixed coins, but for mixed coins there is really no reason.
Right. So you're saying maybe in the future we'll see kind of less labeling and coin control stuff in Wasabi because it's just a bit hard to use, and after CoinJoin it doesn't matter as much.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense, and it kind of brings me to I have this list of questions, and I actually have a question that is titled, "Will we ever have a Peter McCormack wallet?" Which is a wallet that, because Peter McCormack famously said multiple times that if it's not, there needs to be one button that you press and then your Bitcoins become private and that's it. And if he needs to do more than that, then he's not going to do it. And he was half trolling, but also the point is that if it's too difficult, like you said, like the grandma isn't going to use it. And actually a lot of people who are not Bitcoin experts are not going to be able to understand, or maybe they'll be able to, but it's going to be hard to understand what it means to do coin selection and stuff. So, do you think that Wasabi is going to change in this direction of becoming more of a Peter McCormack wallet?
I mean, it's really funny that you bring this up because, let me talk a bit about Peter McCormack. We are a few days away from a large announcement, and I don't know if I should spoil, or I don't know. Anyway, so let me talk about Peter McCormack. In 2018, when Wasabi came out, I went to Peter McCormack's What Bitcoin Did show, and we just barely solved the trustless privacy on a light wallet problem, and everyone really appreciated it, and everyone really liked that finally it's been solved.
Right.
But I went to Peter McCormack podcast and he caught me completely off guard, and he said the UX sucks and this sucks, and he didn't say anything that I wasn't aware of, but we just put this together, barely working. There is a lot of things to do at that time, and I mean he was right in everything. It just not all the progress is coming within a day. And a couple of weeks ago, Max Hillebrand is, well, he's not working for Wasabi, but he's very active. Anyway, so he went to the Peter McCormack show, and Peter kept saying the exact same things that he said to me back then, and I really thought about it really hard because I think we had a very good excuse to not have a user-friendly wallet 2 years ago. But what is our excuse now? There isn't really anything. Like, we just we have to do that, and I can talk about how we don't have a very user-friendly wallet yet. What's the reason? But the point is that the next Wasabi release is, I keep calling it Peter McCormack edition, and keep telling people that that's going to be there is one developer here, Roland, and he can testify that that's the bar there. If Peter McCormack can use it, then it's good. If he can't use this, then it's not good. It's better than comparing your wallet to Grandma, because then you're just gonna have a single button, and the Grandma wallet is not that good. But if you're targeting Peter McCormack, who knows something but doesn't really care, that might result in a good user experience. And yes, we're going to abstract away a lot of features, but not going to remove any of the features. So that's the plan.
That sounds good. So it's Peter McCormack edition. I like that. I like the name. I hope you actually use it. I hope it's on the about page or something. It's a cool name.
So we won't.
Yeah. Well, it's. Do you think that, that Wasabi is something that you expect every Bitcoin user to use? That it can be something that. I mean, probably not now, but over the next few releases, do you think that it's something that everyone can use, or is it going to be this niche thing only for people who really care about privacy? How do you kind of see it?
That's a loaded question, and I have no idea, but maybe so how I think about Wasabi and Join Market is that those two projects are the last stand for Bitcoin, and maybe we can go through that, because I've been operating based on a thesis of myself for ever since I got into Bitcoin, and maybe if we go through that, then you can give your input. The first question would be that why not blockchain? Why do you want to work on money and not blockchain?
Are you asking me?
Yes, I'm interviewing now.
Okay, no problem. I can do that. I mean, I'm a journalist and I'm not supposed to have an opinion, but no problem. I'll give you my opinion. Why not blockchain? Because personally, I don't think blockchain is a good fit for anything else. Now, let's say I didn't find anything that it's a good fit for other than money. So that's why. And specifically why I'm interested in Bitcoin and money with Bitcoin, because I think it's a political tool. I think it can give you freedom. I think it can advance an individual person's freedom. So that's why I'm interested in Bitcoin.
So I agree, but even so I didn't find much use for blockchain either, but if we assume we are completely wrong and blockchain will revolutionize voting, that's it can revolutionize voting, that's a huge thing. But no use case, no revolution is as large as the revolution of money. So that's why I'm trying to pay attention to money instead of CryptoKitties or voting or I don't know, whatever you have. Now the next question is why Bitcoin and why not something else? I mean, there are...
Tron.
Yeah. So why don't you're into Monero, for example?
So I'm into Tron, basically. My favorite coin is Tron, and my second favorite is Bitcoin. But that's a joke, by the way. This is a joke. I realize this is recorded. It's not the truth. It's a joke. Okay. Why Bitcoin? Because I think, there are a few reasons, but I think that the limited supply and the fact that it was first mean that it's truly not going to be able to censor it. And whether or not, if it's good or bad, you can say maybe some of Bitcoin's properties are not ideal, and maybe it's true, I don't know. But I don't think that there's a chance to make another one. If you can make another, something like Monero, but it wouldn't be as censorship resistant because you can't start it again. So you can't have a Satoshi again that disappears. You can't have the entire story again. So that's what we have. And something like Monero can be cool, but it's obviously, you know, it's easier to corrupt because they have a hard fork every few months, and you know, so it's just not the same.
All right. So yeah, I don't want to preach to the court too much, but what I want to note here is that there isn't many things that you can improve on Bitcoin, and the things that you can improve is either the portability aspect or the fungibility aspect. And the sad truth is that it doesn't really matter that another coin has better portability or better fungibility. Well, for portability, they can't really have much better because blockchain just sucks for almost everything. But for fungibility, they can have much better privacy for other coins. But people are not going to realize that, and Bitcoin just got such a head start that they don't care about privacy that much. So you know, PayPal accepted Bitcoin. PayPal, of all things. Other things are coming, and mass adoption might be just around the corner, and this is, you know, terrifying because Bitcoin is gonna scale up for the job. It's going to scale up, and if we don't scale it up by by trying to build systems that tries to improve the fundamental properties of good money, which is portability and fungibility, where we need to get better, then you know, Bitcoin is gonna scale up with centralized Bitcoin banks and fucking PayPal. So that's why Wasabi and Join Markets, the two projects that still did not, you know, like gave up on fungibility, are, right, I think, the last stand in the space, and there are some problems, which is a project keeps behaving like a gatekeeper that makes sure that no new developers will come in the space. So yeah, that's why we can't really expect on other things rather than Wasabi or Join Market.
You keep hitting your microphone. It's okay. It's just funny. So wait, is my interview over? Am I going back to interview you now? I can do it. I have questions ready.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So you mentioned other coins. I don't want to talk about them a lot, and I don't want to bring up Monero again because we did it here many times. But one interesting project on the Ethereum side, I don't know if you guys looked at it at all, is Tornado Cash, which is it's some project that's it's supposed to allow people to deposit ethers or other Ethereum-based tokens like USDT or whatever, and they actually use a smart contract that leverages ZK snarks to do mixing in like different sized pools. Like they have a 1 ether pool and a 10 ether pool and a 100 ether pool, whatever. And like my impression of it, some of it is very interesting, but it's nowhere near like Wasabi's full built-in wallet thing. Like with Wasabi, you have a solution to the full node problem, and you have a solution for the Tor problem, and you use different Tor circles for every for different coins, and you know, and you have labeling, and you have like this complete total solution, while something like Tornado Cash is this, you know, it's a simple website, and you kind of, the user is responsible of doing everything according to best practices, which is very hard. Did you look at this at all? Are you looking at what's happening on things like that, or is that something that doesn't interest you?
So Tornado Cash is something that the authors actually asked me questions, but I did not look that much into it. I believe it's important that, I mean, they have the exact same thesis, right? But the only difference is that they think Ethereum is gonna win and we think Bitcoin is gonna win. So I really wish the best for them.
Right. Okay, simple enough. That's fair. I think that, yeah, it's interesting. I think that it's also younger. Obviously, it's not around as long as Wasabi was, but yeah, it's interesting to see how they tackle a lot of the same problems, I guess. And yeah, I mean, the one thing I really like about Wasabi is that it's this complete package. You know, it has everything. It's not just about CoinJoin. It kind of tries to give you tools that you can use to use privacy, but also it feels like, you know, I mean, the downside, and we talked about user experience, but I mean, I want to kind of drill down into that, because to me it feels like, well, I downloaded the first version of Wasabi and I read like the documentation for it and some of the code, and I learned how to use it, and I understand what's going on. But it feels like if someone is downloading Wasabi today, they have to go at least watch like a 30-minute YouTube video to explain what's even going on there, and to even start using it, because it's not obvious. Okay, you create a wallet, now you have a wallet and you have this large screen in front of you, and it's really hard to understand what you're supposed to do unless you really learn and look into it. So I know you already said that you're working on a new release and you're looking to improve that, but can you maybe give us some ideas about what things you're planning to change over time? Not necessarily tomorrow, but over time.
Sure, I can talk about all the things that I'm planning to change, and it won't be like that, right? But
yeah, no promises.
Yes, so the current idea with Wasabi is that you create a wallet, you receive Bitcoins, you CoinJoin, and then you send the CoinJoined coins, right? It's simple, but how can you make it Peter McCormack friendly is, what if you don't have to care about the CoinJoins? What if at wallet creation you would set a privacy level that you would like to target, and CoinJoins would happen in the background, and if you would want to mess around with CoinJoins manually, or you would select at wallet creation that you don't want to CoinJoins at all, then you would go to the CoinJoin tab. Otherwise, you don't really have to know about the CoinJoin tab at all. It can just happen, and if we can make sure that Wasabi is running on the background and CoinJoining in the background, then this can be privacy friendly, user friendly.
Yeah, this sounds great. This sounds like something that's definitely going to be easier for a lot of people. Yeah, it sounds awesome. So I want to talk to you a bit about how Wasabi is being built and developed. So can you tell us a bit about like what the Wasabi team looks like? Do you have like an office? Do you have like a company with employees, or is it outside contributors, or how does it work?
Well, that's a good question, because depending on when you ask me, I give you a different answer. So it started with me waking up, writing code, go to party, and then go to sleep, and then repeat. So, but then
eat, sleep,
other
code,
people,
repeat.
Exactly. But then other people joined me with the quest, and now I had to coordinate a little bit more. 2 people, 3 people, you can still get to consensus. But as we were growing, and at this point we are over 20 people, this is, my life changed completely. I mean, my output, the Wasabi wallet output, that what Wasabi delivers, it doesn't depend on how much I code anymore. It depends on how much and how well other people code, and now my job is to talk to people like a fucking manager and not write code. So we have an office. Yes. Yeah.
That's good.
I'm
So you have an
forgot the topic. Yes, we have an office in Hungary, and Hungary is a really good place for. I'm Hungarian, but I don't really like Hungary. But Hungary is a really good place for being for a tech company, because the people are really smart. They are really good at writing code, and they don't ask for money that you would be asked in London, for example. So that's why we have an office in Hungary, and like I would say half of the team in Hungary, half now, like 5 to 10 people in Hungary, and everyone else is all around the world.
I see. Okay. And do you have also like people who are just contributing randomly to your GitHub repo, or is that something that doesn't happen as often?
So it happens a lot. What can I say about? I mean, I'm not really a fan of.
Thing, right?
Yes, that's very good, because what we do before every release is that we have a testing contribution game, and then people find a lot of bugs with Wasabi, and we fix the most important ones. But we also had a developer contribution game where other developers can come, and actually Ben de Carmen, who is somewhere here in the audience, have been one of the most active person in that contribution game. And then people were contributing to Wasabi, and they are still contributing and fixing their own bugs. I'm just, I try to. It's more like a problem with me, because I really like my code clean and neat, but other people don't. And for a very long time, the process was that I just go through their things and I implement it in a proper way, but I can't do it anymore because we have so many contributions, and I have to do other stuff too. So yeah, a lot of people are contributing a lot, and in fact, what's the best things are when someone figures out something really bad, like just yesterday, Wasabi was not able to send to batch 32 205 multi-sig addresses because through hardware wallets, right? So these kind of bugs, if someone discovers, that's great, because then we can fix it. Other things, when someone comes and write a large feature, that almost always ends up being like something is missing. For example, the CoinJoin implementation. I think you're familiar with CoinJoin, right? Of course you are. So
yep.
That is predicated, CoinJoin, the current CoinJoin protocol is predicated on the BIP21 URL scheme, right? And the idea of the BIP21 URL scheme is that you get that URL in your browser, and your browser fires up your wallet ready to fire, ready to send the money, ready to send any kind of transaction that the URL encoded. Now, we implemented it, and the problem is that that's kind of how half-baked features are implemented, because how we implemented is that you have to copy-paste the URL into the destination field, and then everything is ready. So this automatic wallet fire up and do your job is just not implemented. So many times when there are contributions, this kind of half-finished features are happening.
Right. So then sometimes you can have contributors that will find whatever bugs that you don't think of, but also then they might write code in with standards that you don't like. But well, that's life as a manager.
I'm improving on that. I mean,
Yes.
that's only my problem, right? Lately, I'm okay
Well, you
with,
didn't invent this
with
problem.
non-standard code.
Yeah. I remembered one question that I didn't ask before about Wasabi itself before I move on, and so I'm gonna jump back and ask you about mobile. Do you is like a mobile version of Wasabi in your like somewhere on your roadmap? Is that something you're thinking of, or do you think this is not really a good fit for mobile or not a good fit for Wasabi?
So the idea was that it's okay to build privacy on desktop because everyone is building to mobile, and there will be a privacy wallet eventually on mobile. It did not happen, so there are people like Dan Gold launched a wallet based on Wasabi. It's called Chaincase, and that's an iOS wallet. So the idea is that when we get there, then we will look at the market and see, is privacy possible on mobile now? And if the answer is not really, then we will launch a mobile wallet. But we still have a lot of work to do until then.
Right.
And I'm still trying to figure out that what should be the order here. I mean, what's more important, to have a mobile wallet or to being able to CoinJoin with hardware wallets? Or what's more reasonable, to implement Lightning Network or to launch on the mobile, right? Because if you implement Lightning Network and you have a user experience on the desktop, then you go with that thing into the mobile platform. Otherwise, imagine we build a mobile wallet, and then we integrate Lightning Network, but there is some issue with watchtowers. I don't know. There can be any kind of issue that doesn't let you use privately Lightning Network on the mobile, and now we would end up with half-finished solutions because we would only have Lightning Network for desktop, but it would really matter on mobile. So the thing is, maybe we should just build a Bitcoin wallet on desktop, and when it doesn't really seem to change anymore, that's when you move to mobile.
Right. Well, if you ask me, and I'm a journalist, I'm not supposed to have an opinion, but I'm going to give an opinion anyway. So I think that the all of those things you mentioned, like Lightning, like, having the possibility to use Wasabi to also use Lightning, it will increase privacy for Wasabi, and it's also increase the privacy for Lightning, and it's great. And using hardware wallets is also a great feature. All of those features sounds great, but I think if you do a mobile version, and I'm not sure it's even possible, because it's like, how do you even do it on mobile? How do you have a queue of mixing on mobile? I don't even know how possible it is, but imagine that it's possible. Then I think that it's a much bigger impact, because you're just gonna get way more users. Like way more. I don't know. I don't want to say any numbers, but it feels like way more people will start using it if they don't need to use a desktop. Like, some people don't even have a desktop that is all the time on and always ready and always with them. Like, a lot of people, use their PC like once a week. So probably not Bitcoin geeks, but a lot of people.
Yeah, that makes sense. I thought about it too, but I'm not that concerned with the number of users. I'm more concerned with being correct, and if you just launch all kind of features and you don't have your basics ready. Like, you know, we are going to replace our CoinJoin scheme like completely, and you know, this is again just a teaser that it's going to happen in the next release. But you know, imagine we would have came up with a mobile wallet with this CoinJoin scheme what we have right now, and then we replace it, and I don't know, that seems like much harder work. Now, regarding your specific questions, that is it possible to have light wallets on mobile? And you know, Chaincase Dangold launched Wasabi, like he's using the Wasabi code, and it seemed to work. So at least there is a proof of concept. I'm not sure how well it works, but the problem, the only problem I have, I did not really find a solution, is that how do you do coin joins on mobile without your application being open? Because it seems like at least Dennis always complaining about that iOS is just taking away resources from your application if you're not on the front. So that will be an interesting technical challenge, but maybe by the time we come out with a mobile wallet, then there will be Graphene OS on everyone's mobile phone. That would be cool.
Okay, that's an interesting aspiration. I think that the chances that everyone, by the way, I don't know if everyone knows what Graphene OS is. It's a fork of Android that is stripped of all the Google stuff and is more hardened and stuff. And I think that, well, if you expect that everyone will have it, that's maybe a bit optimistic, but maybe we should give a Graphene OS phone to Peter McCormick and see if he manages to use it. But yeah, maybe he can. I want to. So you know, you mentioned another CoinJoin implementation which is Join Market, and there's another CoinJoin implementation that you didn't name, and I'm not going to name it either. But there's always a lot of drama in the CoinJoin world. Apparently, I honestly don't understand why, but it happens. And one of the common criticism that is brought up against Wasabi, honestly, sometimes I think it's brought up in a very unfair way, like in a very non-honest way, but I don't know. That's not what I want to ask. I want to ask about the actual criticism, which is about the whole pill chain thing. I'm trying to do quotes with my fingers, but I can't. The whole pill chain thing and the whole the way that change outputs are handled in Wasabi mixes, where basically you do a mix and into the mix goes a UTXO that is almost always going to be too big, and then you're going to get a mixed output, and you're also going to get a change output that is not mixed and is tied to the original input, and you're going to use it again to create other outputs. And this is often used as, and also, so this is often used as a criticism against Wasabi. I'm a journalist, so I'm not supposed to say my opinion. I have an opinion, but before I say it, I want to give you a chance to say what you think about this criticism that pops up often.
So that's a loaded question, and I have to say I'm a bit out of the loop of everything, and I'm always like, you know, when people are talking about that there is drama between the two wallets, the people who are talking about are more involved in the drama than anyway. I have to be honest, I don't understand the peer chain logic. Right? Mm-hmm. The other CoinJoin implementation have a TX0 where one of the changes is going to be unmixed. Maybe other are not going to be mixed either, but you know, there is one of the change that's not going to be mixed. And in Wasabi, it's like if you bring the TX0 into the CoinJoin itself, and that that's kind of like, if you have green coins, then those coins are green and not red in your wallet. So if you are merging together the green and the red coin and you disregard the warning that you should not do that, the inbuilt warning in the wallet that you should not do that, then I don't know what to do. That's
Yeah.
So yeah, in CoinJoins there are changes, and in some CoinJoins you bring the changes before the CoinJoin would happen, and then you can have nice graphs or on Know Your CP, which is a closed source blockchain analysis software, and then you can show you see in Wasabi there are a lot of red things, and and in Whirlpool there are a lot of green things, and when let me talk a bit about, in Hungary there is,
Yeah.
in Hungary there is an old fairy tale that there is a village and someone is on the watch for the wolf, and the wolf is not coming that often, and the guy who's on the watch might get bored, and he comes and shouts, "Wolf, wolf, wolf," and everyone in the village, hide your children, hide your women, hide everything and prepare for the wolf, and the wolf is not coming, and then it happens 2 or 3 times, and when there is a real wolf, no one's gonna take it seriously, because you just have been used up all your social credit that you have with those people in the village, and a very similar thing has happened. That at the beginning I paid a lot of attention, right? I saw in Know Your CP, and I saw that they are parodying all the time with, there is a lot of red thing and red and yellow thing in the Wasabi CoinJoins, and there is a lot of green things or only green things in the Whirlpool CoinJoins, and all right, that doesn't look good, so let me take a look what's going on here. And what was going on there is that, for the mixed coins, they just conveniently omitted the green things from the depiction. I don't know why. I know why, but anyway, so that's one. The other thing is there were red connections to the coordinator address, like 2 or 3, which I don't know, it was probably a bug, because that's just stupid. And when someone is used, and when multiple people participated in the next CoinJoin from the same CoinJoin, then they depicted the 2 outputs as belongs to the same person, which is completely false, because you know that it can't belong to the same person. That's how Wasabi works. So, and I happened to investigate 2 or 3 things like this, and after that I just, this is not productive. I don't know what to say. There might be a wolf. I always pay attention to people who try to explain me where is the wolf, but at one point it's just a waste of time,
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and again, I'm a journalist and I don't have an opinion, but I happen to have an opinion on this topic. That specifically the whole pill thing and the whole change thing is just like, what do you expect to do? Because there has to be a change, as you said, there has to be a change. So you can do a few things you can do. One thing that you can do is to just say, okay, whenever there's a change, we never touch that change again. We burn it, we destroy it, I don't know, whatever. And I guess you can do that, but then that can be a lot of money. So
that doesn't have to be a change.
What's that?
That does not have to be a change. That's one of the realization of the research that we done, that there does not have to be a change, really? And there are two ways. You can ensure mathematically that there is no change. That's the whole knapsack mixing. There will be change, but it's only for 1 or 2%, not everyone. But even if there would be change, it would be computationally infeasible to calculate it. So it's practically like there is no change. But anyway, it's solvable, and there are a lot of ways to go about it. But then you would have to compromise on the final anonymity that one person gets. Anyway, so there are a lot of interesting ideas. That's my point.
Right.
That you could even make it disappear.
Yeah. I guess let's say what I mean is right now, in CoinJoin implementations right now, there's always going to be a change. And well, again, not always. So join market can you can, if there's enough liquidity, then you can, the person who started the CoinJoin might not have a change at all. But if you're gonna have a large pool of people who are CoinJoining, then there's always going to be a change, and then you just have to decide, either you throw it away, which is probably wasteful, or you are doing something with it. If you're going to do something with it, you obviously have to be careful with it. I mean, I just don't get the point. Like, what are you saying? Yes, there's a change. Yes, we need to do something with it. Obviously, like, what's the... I don't get the point. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't get the point of the criticism. But I'll move on. I'll move on because I'm a journalist and I'm not supposed to opine on those things. What I will say is that other than like criticism within the CoinJoin community, there's also other people who don't like Wasabi, like exchanges, for example, and chain analysis companies seems to not be big fans of Wasabi. A lot of time they block, I don't know if a lot of times, but sometimes they block deposits that come from Wasabi, or they block users who withdraw and mix later. Do you think that this is going to get worse? Do you think it's going to get better? Do you think there's anything that can be done to make it more difficult for them to block those things? How do you guys think about this?
So for one, it sucks, and you should really be aware of that when you are CoinJoining. Then you might get some questions from exchanges that you might not want to reply. But let me talk a bit about this problem. What's the problem here is that when you send money to an exchange, then they might say, no, that money cannot pass through me. I don't know. So this is the blacklisting issue, and I think there are a lot of misconceptions here because there is no technical solutions to this, and let me explain why. So many people keep saying that pay joins or coin swaps can solve this, right? Because, they happen completely unnoticeably. But if you think about that, pay join, you can think about pay joins as you are merging your histories with someone else. You can think about coin swaps as you are swapping your histories with someone else. Now, if you are swapping with the wrong person or merging your history with the wrong person, then there's going to be questions asked, right? So that's not a very good solution. And in fact, if you think about it, even if I would be completely wrong, which I'm not, then if pay joins gets, it doesn't matter which one gets there first. So coin swaps, pay joins, coin joins, whichever gets there first is gonna open the door for all the other things, because that's inherently what fungibility is about. That if you could somehow make blacklisting a non-issue with pay join, then that would make it a non-issue with coin joins and coin swaps. Anyway, so another argument there that, but that's why you should use privacy coins, which is just not true. Maybe they cannot blacklist your privacy coins, but they can very well choose to not even support it in the first place. So that doesn't really help. At least with coin joins, pay joins, or coin swaps, they have to accept it because Bitcoin is a push-based system where they cannot say, hey, I don't want that money. Like they already choose to implement Bitcoin, right, which is only for criminals and pedophiles. But anyway, so privacy coins doesn't help in the technical sense. It can help in a way that if those privacy coins can come up with the social solutions, that there are so many privacy coin enthusiasts that they're gonna like just use it. So that would be a social solution, but not a technical one. And another thing is the Lightning Network, right? The Lightning Network is the perfect social solution because it's advertised as a scalability solution. And even if it would be completely private, let's assume for the sake of the conversation, Lightning Network is a perfect dark network, then that's not how they advertise it. So that's kind of a social solution to the blacklisting issue. Yeah, so there is no technical solution to that, I'm afraid.
Okay, so that's not super optimistic, but I like I agree with what you say about Lightning. Well, I agree. I'm a journalist. I don't agree on things, but I like what you said about Lightning. That's like a social solution. It's an interesting way to look at it, because yeah, they can't, like, what are they going to do? I will say, yes, I use Lightning because I need fast and cheap transactions. It's not because I care about privacy. I don't. So I could say that. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. But still, you know, even regulators. We talked about exchanges in chain analysis companies, but even regulators are becoming like more difficult. So there's the travel rule thing that they're trying to implement for some exchanges, where they would have to, like, any business that's handling Bitcoin would have to communicate where the money came from when it sends funds to another business, like when exchange sends to another exchange, or a custodial wallet to another custodial wallet, or whatever. And also, they recently, I think this week or last week, they shut down the Helix mixer, which was pretty big. So, do you think that, like, Wasabi might get targeted in some way? Are you, like, is that something you're thinking about, or what's your position about that whole idea of regulators who might want to attack projects like this?
Yes, of course, it's extremely risky. Now, regarding the Helix mixer specifically, you know, it was a custodial Bitcoin mixer, right? Traditional one, and they did not actually shut the guy down because he was running a mixer. It was two things. One, because it was custodial, so it was a money transmitter service, unregulated money transmitter service. The other thing is, I did not look this up, but this is what I heard, is that he was allegedly giving money laundering advice and partnering with Alphabay. But, you know, Alphabay was the largest darknet market in 2017-ish. and you know, that two thing was like, so they didn't get into the mixing part. Now, I mean, so yeah, we are obviously worried about that. But if society decides that you should not have privacy regarding your money, then I guess I just have to accept it. But we are still trying to, you know, like, take steps to avoid those. Like, right now we are in I don't know if I can say this publicly. It's not a secret, I guess, but we are having some messages with FinCEN to make sure that we are not breaking any laws, right? And if they come up with us with a message that, yes, you guys are not a money transmitter service, then we are really happy, because we try to to not break any laws. But if they come back to us that we are a money transmitter service, then I guess that's the end of Wasabi, and then other people can, like set up new coordinators and play around with the parameters. So it's not the end of Bitcoin privacy yet.
Yeah, I guess that's the one thing that even if they try to shut down the business, then anyone can always take the code and can create a coordinator and do it again. Did you drop the microphone, or did you shoot like a person? What happened? It was a loud noise.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Just making sure that everyone's alive. You talked about Vincent, so suddenly there's shooting. Just making sure that everything is fine. Okay. You mentioned PayJoin. So PayJoin I think that recently there was some talk about implementing PayJoin in Wasabi, or am I confusing it with something else?
Oh, it is implemented. Yeah, I didn't mention it, but yes, it is implemented. Just yesterday we gave out a backport release that's even compatible with Joy Market's PayJoin, so that's nice. Oh,
nice. So you can use like the latest release of Wasabi. You can do PayJoin with. So you're saying with Join Market and who else? Like, can you do it with
BTC Pay? And
yeah.
There are other wallets. I think Blue wallets, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. So it already works. I can just go. There's like a PayJoin tab, and I can send with PayJoin.
No. You paste the PayJoin URL into the destination field.
I see. So it's the normal send, and I just paste PayJoin URL instead of an address. That's good. That's cool. That's awesome. So I can use Wasabi Wallet now to pay, let's say, on BTC Pay checkout form with PayJoin. That's pretty cool.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, maybe on BTC Pay they have to turn this on, this feature explicitly. I don't know how that works. Probably, to be honest, I was not contributing to the implementation.
Okay, that's cool. I think so. In a moment, I'm gonna open this to questions from the audience, and before that, I'll just ask you if there's anything else like in the future of Wasabi. We talked about user experience, but we also talked about the new CoinJoin scheme that you don't want to tell us about because it's coming out in a few days. But other than that, is there anything like in the roadmap in the future of Join Market that you want to talk about? I think you mentioned maybe Lightning inside some point. Anything else interesting?
Yes, so the idea is that we are gonna concentrate on the next release, which is not going to come very soon. It's 3 to 14 months, and there we replace the CoinJoin. We improve the user experience to be Peter McCormack friendly, and finally we just have a modern UI. And from that point where these three things, UX, user experience, UI, and CoinJoins are done, I think that's the time where Wasabi can think about what do you need for a Bitcoin wallet, like in general, and that will be CoinJoins with hardware wallets, Lightning Network integration, and mobile wallet. And I don't have anything else on top of my mind, but that's right. Kind of the three main things that a normal Bitcoin wallet wants to have, right? And maybe we will be ready by the time mass adoption comes and we don't have to all start using Coinbase and PayPal to send each other Bitcoins.
Hopefully. Okay, that sounds good. That's a good answer. So I'm going to start taking some questions from the audience, and just so you know, if you want to ask a question, you just click the button on the right bottom corner of your screen that says raise hand. So again, there's a button that says raise hand on the right bottom corner of your screen. You can click that, and then I'll be able to give you speaking permission to ask your question, and we'll start with MZ. So MZ, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me? Perfect.
Yes.
I have a simple question. So if you want to have like basic privacy, is it enough to mix the coins once and say maybe transfer it after it to cold storage and say that's good enough for like basic privacy?
Yes, that should be perfectly good.
Okay, and maybe
Okay.
the second one, second
Yes.
because it was so quick. The second one, if you have a change output on that, I had the idea to put the change into join market, because join market, if you mix there, you can have an arbitrary sum that you're mixing, and then you can mix like the rest there. So what do you think about that?
Yes, you are on the right track, right? I can only say yes.
Okay, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
So it's yes all around. Okay, cool. Thank you, MZ. And the next question is from Waxwing. Go ahead, Waxwing. Whoop, I muted him. Let's try again.
Hello, can you?
Yep.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. Yep.
Yes, you got me. Okay. Oh, hi, Adam. So nice to speak to you again after quite a while. It's been a while. I was going to ask a question about UX, and I think it's kind of pertinent, but I realised that it also links into what we were saying about, or you were saying about PayJoin a few minutes ago. I just want to update you a bit. So, because I've been doing tons of testing. Wasabi and Join Market are compatible. And BTC Pay Server and Join Market are compatible. Blue Wallet, I don't think they do have an implementation, but it's not really compatible with us because they can't send to a Tor destination, which makes sense. But maybe they could get around it. But that's the future. I'd really like to get somebody like Electrum involved, but I haven't really reached out to them yet. But my actual question was kind of related to PayJoin, was because part of that testing process, I found out something interesting. When I went into Wasabi, you go to the send coins section, tab, whatever it is, and I was sitting there thinking, so how do I send a PayJoin? And I looked around all the different settings and all the different widgets and menus, and there's no mention of the word PayJoin anywhere. And I raised it as an issue on the repo, and Lucas Ontivero responded with a very intelligent, correct point, which is, we're really trying to do the opposite. We're trying to remove settings. We're trying to remove, and this is related to what Adam was saying earlier at the beginning of the talk. They're trying to look for ways to make it Peter McCormack friendly, right? So putting the word PayJoin into the GUI is not particularly Peter McCormack friendly. But then I raised a counterpoint, and I think this raises a really interesting and maybe unsolvable conundrum, which is, how do we deal with this kind of problem? Imagine that you go to a merchant and you get a destination, maybe you scan it or you paste it, and you paste that into the destination in Wasabi, and just it happens the same in Join Market. You paste it in, it auto-fills all the fields, and it recognizes that it's a PayJoin because it has the PayJoin flag inside the BIP21 URI. But the problem is, if this is a problem, it's arguable. The problem is the user will just then click send and won't even know they've sent a PayJoin. At least the way it is right now. Now, I know, for example, in BTC Pay Server, when you do that, they bring up this big text box that says blah, 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 PayJoin, blah, 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 blah. And Peter McCormack will glaze over his eyes and won't want to know about it, right? So the conundrum is, we have these sophisticated features, and, to illustrate the point Adam earlier was saying, he wants it all to be in the background. Perfectly makes sense. But is there a point at which we can't really do that? Because is it really fair to the users to have them just paste something in, send the coins, and not even know they've done a CoinJoin? That seems like we've gone too far. What do you think, Adam?
So I think. Oh wait, now your thing is how to obstruct it less, and are you referring that it's not a good idea to hide that it was a PayJoin?
Yes, I'm raising that question. I'm not saying I have a definitive answer. I want to know what you think.
I think there is only one reason why it would not be a good idea, which would be the blacklisting issue that we just talked about. But if we make design decisions on the wallet level because of the blacklisting issue, then that we kind of admit that defeat Bitcoin is fucked at that point, that if we we say, oh yeah, it can be blacklisted, so let's build features into the wallet.
But it is a tricky point, right? I mean, I somewhat lean in that direction as well. I kind of lean in the same direction as you, but it is a tricky point, because even if you took away the concept of blacklisting, it's like almost a philosophical question. I remember I was sitting in my chair the other day looking at Lucas's answer, and I was just pondering this. I couldn't decide for myself what I thought, because at one level I want Bitcoin to be fungible, and at that philosophical level, then the users shouldn't give a shit, and absolutely nobody should give a shit what kind of inputs there were and what kind of outputs there were. But I guess you could make an argument about fees, because it might slightly bump the fee, and you might argue, well, that's not fair to them. Even if it's a few sats, they should know that they're having to pay more fee, or I don't know. It's a very complicated question.
That's a good point. The fees could be something that makes it explicit that you might be sending pages. But anyway, back to the obstruction issue. Just think about address reuse, avoidance of address reuse. If you think about that at first I was really. So you have a Bitcoin wallet. This address is your Bitcoin wallet. You can see in any blockchain explorer that money comes to the same address and goes out. And now the mean Bitcoin developers introduced a new address every time you receive, and they didn't even tell you about that. So I don't know. I mean, there are more complexity under the hood of the internet, of this VR space, that we have no idea, that has been abstracted away from us. So I think, at least in the PayJoin sense, we can abstract that completely away. The fees are not that different.
Yes, I agree. But here's an interesting point about the user experiences. As a user, and I was kind of fresh to the process, so I was seeing it for the first time. I myself, as an experienced Bitcoin user, was confused, and it was weird, because I figured out the idea that I can paste a BIP21 URI into a destination, because I'd already done that in another wallet, but other users might not even think of that. But then there's also like the fact that I'm actually actively looking for a PayJoin option. I literally spent like 3 to 5 minutes looking for the PayJoin flag somewhere in the settings, and only after 5 minutes did I realize, I can just paste it in. People might not even the user experience paradoxically is worse because you've made it easier. Do you see my point?
I'll jump in. I'm a journalist. So I don't, but I'll try to jump in. So the thing is, when you're going to pay someone with PayJoin, let's say you go to a merchant, the merchant has to tell you about PayJoin, because the merchant will assume that you don't have a PayJoin wallet. Well, when you're going to pay on to a merchant, how is the merchant going to know? Oh, do you mean that with BIP21 it can include the normal
I can add another detail that you guys were unclear about earlier. In BTC Pay Server, you were right, Udi, that the server admin has to actually enable the option of the hot wallet, because without hot wallet, the BTC Pay Server store can't issue PayJoin invoices, because obviously it has to sign the transaction, right? So you were right. So that has to be enabled. But once that's enabled, it's all transparent. You'll just be the PJ option is put into the URI, and you don't even see it if you scan it or just paste it. You don't even see it because it's a long string. You don't even know as a user.
Right. Okay. So in that case,
it's a subtlety. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be the objective journalist in that case. Well, looks like no one has anything to add, or do you want to say anything about that?
Yes, I think I'm still back to the, Adam, we participated in the process of coming up with PayJoin, and we were actually living together at that time.
So could you please put some context on Adam so people don't misunderstand what you're saying?
So we were living together like a gay married pair, but then we broke up.
The secret's out. The secret's out.
Okay, so
Today. This is a great journalistic achievement.
Breaking.
So yeah.
Okay. So
But I was
you
gonna
talked about this before. Yeah, go ahead.
What I was gonna say with that is that I still think there needs to be some kind of, there is another problem with Bitcoin addresses is that they are ugly, and someone is going to abstract them away sooner or later. I don't know when, but it's gonna happen. So hopefully it's gonna happen in a privacy-preserving way, which would be a simple scheme, which is onion addresses would be your contact list, Tor onion addresses. So every time you send money to someone, then your computers are communicating what kind of transactions will happen in the background, and yeah, so we could even abstract away CoinJoin even more. In fact, it doesn't even have to be like. So if you have this onion contact list, then you don't have to pay with CoinJoin or normal Bitcoin transactions. You could also choose to pay with CoinJoin or with Lightning Network or with even altcoins. And the wallet could decide what's the best possible payment that you can make in that moment, completely in the background. Right, so that would be cool if we get there, and we don't get there by someone setting up a server and we all query that server that, hey, give me your address, but rather some nicer privacy-preserving way.
Yeah, kind of like LN URL maybe works in Lightning, where you have the server that communicates with the wallet and they settle on the invoice and whatever behind the scenes. But yeah, it's a cool idea. Okay, awesome. So thank you, Waxwing. And we had another question before, but I think that whoever it was canceled it. So, we have another question now from Agent Huddle. So go ahead. Let's see, did I click? I clicked now.
Can you hear me, Udi?
Yep.
Good. A simple question. It's nowhere near as complex as the last one, but are there simple steps that people think are giving them privacy in CoinJoins where really it's giving them a false sense of security? Are there issues they can, mistakes they can make where they think, great, I've covered my identity somewhat, and then they haven't.
Not with Wasabi.
None.
I mean, think about it. Mm-hmm. If you're always spending the green mixed coins, then you have nothing to worry about. Now, that's a very hard thing to do, right? Always spending the green mixed coins and never touching the red unmixed coins. But that's not a mistake. That's just, you had to touch those things because you don't have enough money to just let them stay around and never touch them. Or that's not a mistake. The user knows what he's doing when he's spending red coins.
But let's say I'm only spending green coins, but I'm spending a lot of them together. So let's say I did like 20 separate mixes, and I have 20 outputs. They're all green, but I merge all of them in one transaction. Then maybe now it's easy to see that, because I'm merging 20 of them, then it's easy to see that it has to be someone that was on 20 mixes, on all of those 20 mixes, and then maybe it's easier to pinpoint who that is.
Yes. I'm not quite sure. I haven't. I don't know. I don't think that hugely matters. I mean, the only thing that I've seen that someone was trying to de-anonymize mixed coins was 2 years ago, and came to the conclusion that 10, it was either 10 coins or 10 bitcoins that should be safe to merge together in any circumstances, but 2 years ago or 1 year ago, the liquidity was much lower. So I would guess it's higher now. It's a good question. I don't think if you are merging together a lot of bitcoins all the time. I mean, you have to be aware of that. If you are an elephant in between a bunch of chicken, then you're not gonna do it. Like this was I don't remember. There was some scam that tried to make more money than the entire market cap of Monero, and that it wasn't his user mistake. He just had, okay, fuck it, it's not happening, and he just merged it together and tried with other things. So yeah, you can do that if you have a lot of bitcoins, right? You have to have kind of the same amount as other people.
Yeah, I would say that the privacy journey doesn't end with mixing, because it's somewhat important, at least what you do after mixing also. So if maybe you don't even merge the coins directly, but maybe you send all of the outputs to the same address over time. Maybe it's your hardware wallet or some exchange that doesn't replace addresses, and over like a year or two you send everything over to one address. Then obviously it becomes very easy to understand what's going on. If it's big enough, then over time it will become easy to understand where it came from. And also it depends what you want. Like I sometimes when I talk with people who didn't really get into the details of how CoinJoin works, then they would say, okay, I bought coins on Coinbase with KYC, and now I want to use them in a way that Coinbase will not know that I bought bitcoins. Now, obviously, CoinJoin can't help you with that. Like if you bought bitcoins on Coinbase, then Coinbase is always going to know that you bought the bitcoins on Coinbase. You can break the link, but you can't make them forget that you bought bitcoins there, right? So it should be obvious, but I think for some people it's not obvious. They just think, oh, I've got a CoinJoin and all my privacy problems disappear, which obviously is not.
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
that's a very good point. Can I say something to that?
Sure.
I think many people oversell Bitcoin as a Bitcoin mix, Wasabi as Bitcoin mixer, but it's not. It's a Bitcoin wallet that you have to use as your Bitcoin wallet, and not as a Bitcoin mixer that you send your Coinbase coins to Wasabi and then you send it to BitPay. That's not even an exchange. Anyway, so then you send it to your hardware wallet that is not set up with Wasabi, therefore you leak your XPub to them. So it doesn't work that way. You're kind of either staying in Wasabi, or you just wait a couple of years for things to improve, and finally your use case gets handled too. But don't use it as a mixer, use it as a wallet. That would be the point.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah. Okay, I'll take 2 more questions and then that's it. So one from Hero. Hero, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I try to make, you guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. I try to make this as much of a question as possible in the context of this. I'm in Canada, and we have one exchange here that mixes the coins before they send them to you. like they're very, as opposed to blacklisting, they insist on mixing it. And I wonder what other things are going on in the community, and what else can be done to make mixed coins less blacklisted, more accepted as fungible. Like, what is being done, and what more could be done, so that ultimately I'd say, the enemies of Bitcoin who want to track every transaction and put a name and everything else on it are going to have to give up and throw their arms up in the air. So I'm just wondering if there's any more things that you're familiar with. If there's any more things that any or all of us should be doing. That's the question. It's an attempt to frame it as a question.
That's a good question. There are some gossips that how does it go? Wasabi sent 138 people to jail, right? So if there would not be such gossips, that would be better, but this makes me uncomfortable in multiple levels, even just to talk about it, because for one, it's not true. Like, things have been completely debunked. So when you see people talking shit, then ask for their source and try to verify them. And if you can't verify their source, then keep calling them out next time. But why this makes me also uncomfortable is because even if it would be true, then it shouldn't matter, because that's just something, like if you want to make money like air that anyone can have access to with the same rules applied to anyone, then that just comes with part of the business, right? If something is going on. I wasn't very clear about that, and I did not address your question. And it wasn't really a question. Your question was how to make Bitcoin more fungible, and there are a lot of ways, especially if you're a developer. I guess then you can find your niche. But if you're not a developer, then maybe not accept the rhetoric that there are clean and dirty coins, because really at that point we accept that, then that's kind of the end of Bitcoin, and nothing. We might have, we may even build a worse financial system than what we have today, and we might not be proud of that,
That's why I'm saying, like, we can't really let it become a surveillance system. We have to let it become we have to make sure that it becomes the opposite, and there's forces encroaching on turning Bitcoin into a surveillance system. And so really, if I had a question, and I appreciate that you may not have a perfect answer, you're just one person working in this whole space, but it is what would be turning points? And the reason I gave the example I did is I think if you actually had exchanges like this one fighting for the privacy of their users rather than aiding the surveillors, we'd be in a better position. And I think that that's something that we could all advocate for and move towards, and give our business to take our chances a lot. Like, I'd rather buy coins that someone might blacklist in the hopes that they never would, because if I'm buying Coinbase coins, I'm not buying Bitcoin, and the future of Bitcoin doesn't really exist. So I appreciate I'm not asking a question though at this point. I'm standing on a platform, and it's yours to be here. So I'll shut up.
I agree, and I just wish that there would be options for Peter McCormack's, the majority of the Bitcoin community, because Wasabi is currently not ready, and neither join market, and we have a mass adoption thingy, and maybe all the CoinJoin implementations can go to the trash, because it just, no matter how you tweak the system, it's not gonna be sufficient for the costs for the transaction costs that it takes. So I wish I would have have a good answer for that, and I'm trying to, like, we should come out with the best possible solutions before mass adoptions. Yeah.
Okay, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Thanks, Hero. And I'll take the last one from Waxwing again. Let's see. Yep.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I actually just wanted to. I'm just blatantly like taking the platform. I just wanted to address Hero's point from a slightly different angle, because I think I'm noticing in the last 6 months, maybe a bit longer, there's an increasing trend for people to talk about this idea that, oh, CoinJoins are blacklisted. And I think that's not actually the reality, because I'm somebody who's actually used Bitcoin as a spending currency. Oh, I know the horror of the thought, right? I actually use it as spending currency, and I have done for years, and I've been spending both out of CoinJoins and with CoinJoins on multiple different retail platforms for years. They don't get blocked, okay? What we're talking about is a few isolated incidents, and yes, it may be increasing, but it's specifically to do with exchanges. And I'm sorry, but if you spend all your time, and obviously I'm certainly not talking to you, Hero, but people generally, if you spend all your time gambling on shitcoins, going from one exchange to the other, then it's absolutely it's a joke to even think about privacy. I don't care what technology you're using, you're wasting your time. So if you actually want to think about Bitcoin as a currency, then not only the point I just made, okay, actually CoinJoins do work, you can use them, but also consider the fact that pretty much all of these privacy technologies are a complete waste of time unless we're talking about peer-to-peer transfers. Because if we're only going to be sending money to and from Coinbase and to and from Kraken, then it doesn't matter. Even if you use fucking Monero, it doesn't make any bloody difference, right? Because they've got your name and they track every single movement you make. So the only thing that's interesting is peer-to-peer transfers, and in that environment, an awful lot of the problems we see as insurmountable go away anyway. So that's just me ranting. I'll stop there.
That's a good point, though. I mean, when you do peer-to-peer transactions, then you don't have any of those problems. You can use PayJoin without worrying about blacklisting and stuff. So it's a good point.
Let me rant it a bit too, because
yes, go ahead. This is what this is for.
I can imagine that people may, there are good arguments for blacklisting too, and I don't think they are good arguments, but they are at least plausible, and you can imagine that criminals are really 50% of the population, like 50% of this panel is criminal, and you can imagine that, like, and at that point, like, our philosophical arguments would not really hold on, blacklisting should not be a thing. But if society decides that blacklisting is something that's needed for us to move towards to a better future, then I'm all for it, and I'm okay with discussions regarding that. I'm not all for it. Anyway, I'm okay with discussions regarding that, but the thing is that this comes up with people who are working on privacy. They are trying to trash other privacy projects based on the blacklisting arguments, and now that's so hypocritical, and I just wish that wouldn't happen. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think I definitely, again, as a journalist, don't supposed to have an opinion. I don't know why I keep saying that. The joke was funny maybe in the beginning, but I'm not sure it's still funny. But anyways, I mean, I think, if we're all looking to improve privacy, then I think it's a bit counterproductive to have the privacy fights. But it's also your fault, because you introduced the way to make money by coordinating CoinJoins, and now everyone wants to do it and fight each other. So it's your fault.
Well, I think you're right about that. And the first 2 years, I did not want to make money out of CoinJoin. So my idea was always an open source project, just like Join Market, and you know, then I got a bit afraid of regulatory issues. That am I doing? You know, I'm just a developer. I'm just writing code, but this thing can become really big, and you know, if I'm just a developer writing code, I probably will need lawyers, and lawyers will need money. So, and then I figured that when, you know, you give people money to write code, then more things get done than you alone, and maybe more goal oriented. So I think that's kind of the window here, right? That the more stuff we build right now, and whatever happens in the future, and you know, anyone can use that, and hopefully nothing will happen in the future. But in the case of a war, like what they do against what they do because of the oil, like they might do the same because of Bitcoin, and you know, like they drone down each and every one of us one by one, but there will be an anonymous 12-year-old 15-year-olds who sets up an anonymous coordinator, and good luck with that, you know.
Yeah. No, I personally definitely think that it's a good thing that Wasabi can make money, because then, as you say, you can hire more developers, you know, you have incentive to keep growing that thing. That's a good thing, but it also means that there's going to be competition, and competition can be ugly sometimes, and that's life. So I'm just being a journalist again. But with that, I'm gonna end this. So I want to say a lot of just thank you, Adam, for showing up. It's great. You were here before in the past, but you didn't have you couldn't make the microphone work, so you were just muted. So I'm glad that now we get to hear you. This is awesome. So thank you for showing up, and thank you everyone for coming today. Again, if you're watching the video, then you should know that we do this every weekend, every Saturday. We have great guests, and the way to join is to go to recklessvr.com or recklessvr on Twitter or recklessvr on Telegram, and you sign up, and you'll get invites every week. And you don't need a VR headset to join. You can join without a VR headset, so that's pretty cool. And and that's it. After this, what we do every week is we go to VR Chat, which is another app, and we just hang out, and it's fun because there are custom worlds and custom avatars and stuff. So in the Telegram group, I'm going to send details about that in about 20 minutes. Until then, you can take a break. Adam, if you want, you can join us if you have like other things in life other than VR, which is unlikely, but I guess it's possible. Then you don't have to. And that's it. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to unmute you all, and have a great week.
Hey.
Yep. Hey.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Nice.
Wait, was my voice not amplified?
You don't need a headset.
I don't know. I'm now not sure if my voice was amplified. I don't know if it was turned on.
Actually, I don't have a battery left on my Quest controller, so fuck.
Yeah, I think
I need
I
to
turned
buy
it
some
by itself.
rechargeable
back there.
until, you know. I did use some.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Some that you just
Not great,
put in the
but
trash
okay.
when it's empty. It's not really
No,
intelligent.
it's not good. No.
If you
really
want, you
efficient.
can join the VR Chat thing.
Yeah.
It's another app.
You have to
I
find
can tell you how
something.
to do that. But if you need to run to your kids, that's okay
Mine are
too.
built in, so
I haven't done
Right,
it.
that was fun.
I'm not quite sure how to
Just
do
that
it.
Everything is melted into the floor.
Plug it from time to time.
You
You
will
add
have
me
it.
as a you add me as a
Okay.
friend, and then you click join on
Will you
my
be able to
name,
change the
and
battery
then
when
you'll join
you
where
are
I am.
dead?
I'll send you the details on Twitter. I can send
I
you
think
the
so.
instructions.
Or it's
Because-
fully in resin or something that you can.
Okay, so it will be in
open.
about 20 minutes.
Uh,
If you
maybe
want,
it's
you can hang out,
complicated.
or
I
you
have
can
no
take a
idea
break,
how
or
open the
whatever.
controllers. So maybe
Alright.
not.
Okay.
Really.
Cool,
But
thanks.
they are expensive, so I
Bye-bye.
believe they
Bye.
didn't do the cheapest batteries.
iPhones
in
are
there.
expensive too.
Yeah, they have good batteries.
That's true, and you can change them if you're a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes. Hey, Udi.
Are you an iPhone user? You're using iPhone?
Yeah, sure.
Are you a Windows user?
Oh, I
Yeah, but
have
it's
Windows.
okay because I use.
So look,
Wasabi.
I have Windows and Linux, and iPhone. So it's kind of everything.
Yeah, I have
Nice.
everything except of Windows Phone. Some people use that.
You don't have a Windows phone? But you surely
How
use
do you
a
not?
Zune for
How do you
listening
not
to
have
music.
Windows Phone? Oh wow!
I have a friend who is like, yeah, I think he's changed to Android because he's basically dead. Windows Phone.
Yeah, it's
It
dead.
was
Yeah.
always a problem to find some messenger that he also has.